Hello, this is MK Scott, and this is a special edition of OURview. And I decided that I wanted to do a special on what's been going on in the last couple of weeks of kids dying, committing suicide for being gay because they've been bullied for being gay. So I wanted to do this and wanted to get a bunch of my friends together to talk about the subject. But first, my friend Joseph Fenity, who is a freelancer down in Austin, Texas, had filed this report for Sirius LQ just in the last week or so, of where he attended Asher Brown's funeral and got to speak to his dad as well as a few other people. And that's coming up here in just a few seconds. And later on in the show, we have Jesse Archer coming back here talking about his experiences of being bullied when he was a kid. And also I have Jolyn Ricks back, as well as Lincoln Rose, and they'll be talking about how gender and the church plays a huge effect to the situation. So, but first let's hear from Joseph's report, and then we'll be right back of where we'll actually be talking to Joseph directly.
A memorial service was held in Texas over the weekend for the most recent victim in a disturbing spike in gay teen suicides. Joseph Fenity was at the service and has this report.
Nearly 250 friends and family gathered outdoors at a Houston park on Saturday as they released balloons into the air, commemorating the life and mourning the loss of 13-year-old Asher Brown. Last week, the young middle school boy, who was teased at school about everything from his shoes to his small stature, as well as his sexual orientation, committed suicide in an upstairs closet of the family's home.
Michael, thanks for having me on. You've been doing a great job covering these seems like, I guess, a temporary epidemic of teenage bully suicides. And everyone's been covering this, but I haven't met and talked to a lot of people who've actually been there at the memorial services or had a chance to meet some of these families and talk to the community. And Sirius XM, Sirius 109 XM 98, they just dispatched me out there to the Houston area to cover this 13-year-old Asher Brown who, in the media we're using the term bullied to death, but that sounds dramatic, but it's kind of true. And so I went out and talked with the father, talked with the family, and it was quite interesting and sad to hear that I guess it just made it so real.
Absolutely. Now, what was it like talking to Asher's father?
Well, I've got a couple clips for you. The first one is I guess I'll go ahead and let you play Asher's father, and then I'll tell you about him.
Okay. All right. Let's hear that.
The 13-year-old stepfather, David Trong, tells OutQ News that right now there's one thing keeping the family together.
We're holding out well because we have faith in God. Asher's with God.
The tragic loss is the most recent in a string of suicide cases stemming from non-stop bullying involving young gay teenagers across the nation.
And when you think about 13, I mean, that is just, it doesn't get much younger than that. And, you don't even have your braces off by 13. You don't even get a chance to get into high school. And it was just, the family was so upset, and but the community seems to really be taking a lot of anti-bullying initiatives, as well as the family, and so that's the good news. But I spoke to a lot of different people out there at that memorial service.
Now, from the clip, it sounded like Asher's father was kind of religious. Did you think he was he accepting of Asher's orientation?
I think he was. There's an interesting piece to the story, which is reportedly, this is what the father has told us, that Asher actually came out to him that morning. So 13-year-old Asher Brown in Houston came out to his father that morning, and the father says he was accepting of it. And regarding being religious, I'm not really too sure, but I do know that seems like anytime you go to a funeral, whether you're religious or not, God certainly comes to mind. And everybody's, you're grabbing on to as much as you can. And when you can't grab onto your 13-year-old anymore, you grab for God. So I don't know for sure about their religious views, but I know that they were looking to believe in something that day.
Now, in regards to some of the mothers, you said that you had a chance to talk to some mothers who were actually attending the funeral. What was that like?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I guess I met one of my favorite moms that I've ever met. I mean, she is, her name is Evie. I got a clip of her, and she's the mother of a 15-year-old, a boy who seems to be a lot like Asher Brown, just a few years older. And she tells me that he gets ridiculed every single day at school. But the really neat thing about this mom is, I guess she's kind of like a mama bear, and really good at it too. I spoke a couple years ago with Judy Shepard, and she told me that she went from a stay-at-home mom to a pissed-off mom. And I think a lot of moms and a lot of people, I went from just a reporter to a pissed-off reporter. I mean, it's the truth. You go to these things, and you don't want to go to funerals. You would rather go to rallies preventing this sort of stuff. So I spoke with this mom. I consider her to be a pissed-off mom, and pissed off for good reason, but this is the mom.
E.B. Husey, who attended the memorial service, says that although she didn't know Brown or his family, she does know and worry about another young boy.
I am the parent of a gay son. He gets bullied every day. Every day somebody calls him a fag. And that is not okay anymore. I don't want this to continue. And now it's become a life or death situation. A child is dead. One child is too many.
That mother, alongside others attending Asher Brown's memorial service, say that they're committed to doing everything they possibly can to stop bullies. I'm Joseph Finity in Houston.
So there's a mom. That's a Texas mama bear right there. I mean, and it's a true sign of the times. I mean, she's a woman living out in Houston. I mean, 10 years ago, you wouldn't so openly, I don't think most moms would so openly say, my son's gay. But now you have to say, look, my son's different and he's getting bullied. So that's what that whole mom is about. I think it's a sign of the times. Parents and teachers are getting fed up, and they should.
What do you do when the teacher isn't going to help you, when the adult isn't going to help you, when the authority is going to stand back and watch this happen? So I just want to say, stick in there. And I think that the way to solve this problem is to do things that give you self-confidence, because once you become a self-confident person, you are no longer a target for a bully. Bullies look for people with immense amount of insecurity because they feel that they can push them down. So that's all I really have to say, and things do get better once you learn to love yourself, and you learn to love yourself by doing what you love to do. So keep it up, and that's the message from Caswell today. And I just want to say there is a project out there called the Trevor Project with 24-hour hotlines that you can call if you have someone that you need to talk to that can maybe give you some further advice. So I hope you take that, and have a great day.
People are different, and as Caswell would say, nut up or shut up, which I don't know exactly what that means. I don't know if I should say nut up or shut up, but that's what the New York City rapper Caswell, DJ rapper Caswell, has told me before about certain things. And of course, he did a "It Gets Better" video, but it is like, you just have to. I don't know. I think there's some accountability from some authority figures that needs to come into play here. Everybody's got to get connected. Everybody's got to get on the same playing field about this issue, because it's a big, serious issue. So many lives, one life is too many. So many lives have been lost over the past several months, and I think that there has to be, you know what I don't like hearing? I've heard a couple of people, even some of my gay friends who were bullied as kids, who say things like, well, these kids just need to man up. That is so stupid. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And the reason it's so stupid is because it's 2010. We're coming up on 2011. In fact, the year I graduated high school, MySpace was already online. This is a whole new ballgame. We're not dealing with blooding up kids' nose in the 50s and 60s. These are kids who are like, I'm sorry, but they may be smarter than ever before, but if they want to be, they can be meaner than ever before. What was that movie that came out just a few years ago, Mean Girls? I mean, really, kids can be more mean than ever before, and unfortunately, I think that kids kids on the other end, they're also more sensitive than ever before. And I don't know. I just think that you can't always attack new problems with the old remedies, because you know how it is. MySpace, Facebook, Twitter, all these social networking sites. The bullying doesn't stop at 3:30 when the bus comes to pick you up. It used to stop when you would log off MySpace. Now you get text alerts. I mean, kids are cyberbullied, so it's a whole new ball game that we're dealing with. There are workplace bullies. There are all sorts of bullies, and just as Caswell was testifying on his It Gets Better video, which I hope everybody goes and Googles Caswell, Cazwell. It Gets Better. Google that and look at that video. He got bullied just a few weeks ago, and he's like number 30-something on the iTunes download charts, and he's living in New York City, and he's 6'2", and he's, grown up, and he's,
living well is the best revenge.
Yeah.
And, it's like just, the best way to get even with a bully is to ignore it and to be stronger. It's like it would be great if there was no bullies at all, but, as long as you're stronger and you're able to handle it as it comes your way, then, it's just part of your survival.
Right, absolutely. And, I'll give you an example of something that was sort of a bully mentality coming at me. And I guess I was like 16 or 17. It was towards the end of high school. And we were all sitting in a group, a lot of the kids from my class. And we were talking about being gay. And some girl said, "So, Joseph, are you, like, really gay? Are you gay?" And everybody looked over at me like, predators trying, like, oh, my goodness. And she said, "Are you gay?" And I said, "No, but my boyfriend is." And so everybody started laughing. And so half the people who were laughing kind of forgot what the original question was, and the other half of the people who were laughing were thinking, well, that's like the best comeback, but it turned the subject, and it set the playing field. It reset the tone. And I think you have to do things like that to divert attention away from yourself, or to just kind of show them that you've got stuff going on in your mind that's 10 steps ahead of them. And, you got to be willing to take those risks to say stuff like that as a kid, if you're comfortable with it, because it sure beats, the alternative, which is not saying anything at all.
Anything that you wanted to add about your experience and what is coming up, if you are going to be covering anything else that's related?
Well, I'm really interested in not covering any more funerals. I know it sounds kind of funny, but it's so true. I want to cover this
totally.
Bully, this kind of temporary bully epidemic we've got going on, and I want to cover it where I can go talk to a kid who stood up for himself, and talk to a kid who has a success story. I feel like these things that are happening are so sad. You have to be accountable for everything that you do or say, and you have to understand that your actions have consequences. And I just want those who are gay listening and those who are straight listening to this is not just a gay issue. This is not just gay kids that are being bullied. These are kids that are being bullied because they're different. And I just encourage everyone who's listening to do whatever they can to put a stop to it, do as much as they can to put a stop to it. And we at SiriusXM and also at my website, josephfinity.com, I'm going to continue to report on all of this because, as you know, the media voice is just like some of those moms you heard. The media voice can get so loud, and it's like a protector. So I think it's really important for all sorts of media to report on these issues each and every single time they happen, so that everyone's aware of what's going on. As sad as it is, we have to take a pulse of America, and I think that this is absolutely what's going on right now, and we have to keep covering it until it stops.
Absolutely. That's a good way to end that. Thank you so much, Joseph, for joining us, and we look forward to hearing from you again.